Okay, everyone. This is Let's Go Try Reproducing a Patent because they're super interesting. This one was shared with me, and I'll share it with you. Here's the part of the idea here is you run the current coiled one way and straight back the other. And there's other pictures in here that show this other wire going back through the middle of the coil. And then they've got this fancy one that shows basically a transformer wired that way, but the end of this side over here is just connected to itself, and so the current goes in, current goes back out. Modern magnetic theory says you shouldn't get a magnetic field, which, by the way, you don't, but this transformer still works. And I know this because heck, I happen to already have it, so thus the whole let's go play with stuff. Anyway, I've got a signal generator running here at 220 kilohertz, and then that goes into a power amplifier. Input voltage is, where's our input voltage? Maybe 1 volt peak to peak, not quite 1 volt peak to peak in. So it's about a half a volt peak on half of the cycle there, and then the output of the transformer, the red coil here, is a lot more than a half a volt. What is that? I should quit looking at the camera screen and count. That's so that's 5 volts, so we get 5 there. That's I don't know what peak to peak is. I can't count apparently. 10, 15-ish volts out. Now what's interesting is if I drop the frequency 10 kilohertz, signal goes way down. If I up it 10 kilohertz, it goes way down, but right at that peak we seem to get high voltage resonance. But either way, even if it's out of tune, it still has quite a bit more voltage out than in, and if I set the scales the same, you will see that. 1 volt. Yeah, now the scales are set identical. But what really gets me is when I start changing frequency, the phase of the input and the output can either be lined up, or it's not the best way to see it, but anyway, the phase either leads or follows depending on where I'm at. I suppose that makes sense, but anyway, interesting little transformer. Making a voltage magnetic field free. I would call this idea of the vector potential generation device seems to work. And with no magnetic field, shield permeation device is it's right on. Interesting concept I'm going to have to think about.